In the headlines, plot to remove INEC chairman thickens ahead of 2023 elections. Labour Party unveils 1,234-member campaign council. Senate adjourns sitting till November for budget defense. And on the foreign scene, Lebanon reports first cholera death in new outbreak. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. A few months to the 2023 elections, a plot to remove the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, is said to be on the table. The coalition of united political parties has raised alarm over the alleged plot to remove the chairman in a bid to compromise the elections. The spokesperson of the opposition coalition, Ikenga Ugochinyere, told a news conference in Abuja that the coalition has uncovered fresh plots to deactivate the bimodal voter accreditation system from being used in the election.
The chairman of Nigerian political parties, opposition coalition CEPP, and heads of political associations have intercepted intelligence of an alleged fresh plot against the 2023 general election, and this time being coordinated by leading figures of the ruling APC governors, led by a Southeast APC governor with controversial past, and another from the Northwest, who are working with their colleagues to perfect a plot to intimidate INEC leadership into abandoning the use of electronic transmission and upload of election results to the INEC server, deactivation of the BVAS machine from INEC server, and the creation of crisis of confidence based on trump-up charges that will lead to the removal of top officials of the Electoral Commission, including the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud, and other national commissioners who are insisting on the use of BVAS for the 2023 election and the irreversible use of electronic transmission of results.
And still talking politics, as the race for the 2023 election heats up with election campaigns gathering momentum, political parties have continued to engage Nigerians on their plans for the country. As expected, the Labour Party has named members of its campaign council at a World Press Conference in Abuja. The party also promised to return power to the people if elected. Yusuf Akogu was there and now reports.
The party at the event called for fairness on the part of INEC and relevant stakeholders to ensure that 2023 elections are free, fair and credible. According to the Director General of the Campaign Council, Doyin Okukwe, the country is at a critical time in its history and requires the political class to live up to expectations.
So at this time in our history, there can be no middle ground in the environment for informed, effective and firm leadership to begin the hard work of turning around our national history and our cloudy political outlook. Significant to observe and also to underline that the biggest movement has to remain rising above religion, rising above ethnicity, rising above political affiliation, and all such narrow sentiments to become a truly national movement of Nigerians, prepared for full participation in this universal mission of national reconstruction.
He said the party will have issue-based engagement with the Nigerian people to ensure a new set of prudent managers emerge.
While those who want to remain willfully or self-deceitfully ignorant may continue to judge or term this renaissance with bigoted, ethnic and immoral beliefs, it is important to deeply reflect on the condition of political efforts and the foundational issues of citizens' revolts in different parts of the world, and not failing in our duty of ensuring that we are not at cross purposes with the message. This rising army of young, angry, but patriotic Nigerians at this time of our national history. It is common knowledge that the breadth of democracy is the people's power.
The 1,234-member campaign council list has representations from the 6 geopolitical zones in the country. Yusuf Akogu, Trust Television News, Abuja.
And amid the crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has vowed never to accept northern dominance in the leadership of the party. Wike rejected the current formation of the party, where the national chairman, Iyorchia Ayu, presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, and Director General of the presidential campaign, Aminu Tambuwal, are all from the northern part of the country. He said no one can convince him to drop his advocacy for internal democracy in the party. Now, this is coming as the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar sent emissaries to bring Wike to the team. Wike had on Wednesday night hosted PDP candidates, a local government party chairman from Cross River, who paid him a courtesy visit at his residence in Port Harcourt, where he donated 25 buses to support their campaigns. Former Senate President Bukola Saraki has expressed readiness of the People's Democratic Party to take back power, both in Kwara State and the national tickets in 2023. He stated this during a program to X-ray Kwara State of yesterday, today, and the Kwara of our dream. The report.
The event was organized by the PDP support group to compare and contrast the achievement of the past PDP administration and the current APC government. The former Senate President, who is the lead speaker at the event, lamented on how those who took over from People's Democratic Party, both at the national and state levels, have disappointed the electorate.
The time has come that we, either the followers or the voters, we must look at who we are voting for. Today, we have seen the difference. I waited to talk last because I wanted to hear myself. To hear this so-called 16 years of PDP, where we had security, we had infrastructure. Today, I challenge them to tell us what they have done for these 3.5 years.
At a debate session organized for gubernatorial candidates in the states, both the candidates of the PDP and that of the Young Progressives Party promised to perform better than what was obtained.
This is the bane of our politics in Nigeria. Everybody comes out and says, I'll do that, I'll do this, I'll do that. We know how much comes to the state. People should be challenged. How much are you going to get from the federation account to do all these things? And I'm sure we all know that previous politicians have all come out to say, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do all that. At the end, they end up doing nothing.
Mediocre, we all know the term mediocre. What is the opposite of it? The opposite of mediocre is excellent. My life has been a life of striving for perfection, but trying to achieve excellence in everything I do. And that is the approach that I think we need at this juncture that Kwara State is in now. We need to bring excellence into governance.
However, the PDP governorship candidate said if elected, his major focus will be on wealth creation and empowerment. The debate provided an opportunity for the governorship candidates to sell and present their manifestos as elections inch closer.
Now to legislative matters, where lawmakers on Wednesday debated on the 2023 appropriation budget, earlier submitted by President Muhammadu Buhari. The Senate has equally adjourned till November 15th to enable committees concentrate on budget defense sessions with ministries, departments and agencies. The Senate and House of Representatives on Wednesday passed for second reading the 2023 budget, which was presented to the National Assembly last Friday by President Muhammadu Buhari. The bill focused on issues from the Consolidated Revenue Funds, statutory transfers, among others, for the year ending on the 31st of December 2023. And the Zamfara State Police Command has arrested 8 bandits informants, a gun runner, cattle rustlers, a supplier of hard drugs and foodstuff to terrorists in the forest within the state. The Zamfara State Police Public Relations Officer Superintendent Shehu Muhammad, who paraded the suspects, said police operatives also repelled terrorist attacks in Ukuyum, Shinkafi and Safi local government areas of the state. The Police Public Relations Officer of the Zamfara State Police Command, Superintendent Muhammad Shehu, while addressing newsmen over the successes recorded by the command, said the command recovered 4 sophisticated guns, 1 cutlass and a bunch of charms after a gun battle with the terrorists, which were forced to retreat into the bush. He said police acted on distress calls placed by some community members that resulted in repelling the terrorists' planned attacks at some communities.
Arrest of 2 informant to armed bandits who collaborate with bandits that operate in Monhaya Forest of Sapi local government area of Zamfara State. Name of suspect are Hawa Usman, F, 43 years of Barakallahu area in Gusau. The second suspect, Aliyu Mahmoud, 43 years old of Tudunwada area, Gusau local government, Zamfara State. Police tactical operatives acted on intelligence information and arrested the above named suspects who were allegedly collaborating with notorious bandits from Monhawe Forest in Sapi local government area of the state.
The police arrested a 28-year-old gunrunner who hailed from Gidangarba village in Maru local government area of the state with 250 rounds of AK-47 live ammunition, which he confessed that he was sent by a terrorist leader with the sum of 1,190,000 naira to deliver to an arms supplier and collect the consignment. They also apprehended a supplier of hard drugs and foodstuff to the terrorists, one who loaded the drugs and foodstuff from Kano to Dangulbi village in Maru local government area of the state to supply the terrorists operating in the bush.
Even though she denied fraternizing with her 2 younger brothers, but she indicted the second suspect, Aliyu Mahmouda, to be the person collaborating with her 2 younger brothers, who are the bandits, by supplying hard drugs, foodstuffs, operational motorcycles for banditry activities, and hiring laborers for the bandits to go and farm their farmlands in the bush.
The command's public relations officer also disclosed that the police arrested a 43-year-old woman who lives in Barakallahu area of Gusau and another male from Tudunwada who are alleged terrorist collaborators, an allegation the 43-year-old woman denied. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Zamfara State Command, has uncovered an illegal brothel in Gusau metropolis where underage girls and married women are harbored to engage in atrocious and immoral activities. The command's public relations officer, Iko Oche, made this known while parading the prime suspects and some of the underage girls. The NSCDC said it will not relent in ensuring that they rid the state from such illegal activities. The 45-year-old who confessed to the crime is alleged to have been harboring underage girls and married women at Ungwargwaza area in Gusau to engage in commercial sex.
Here, the attention of the Corps was drawn to a particular man called Malam Isa Ibrahim, 45 years of age, at Agwangwaza behind FMC, who is operating an illegal brothel for the past 10 years in a residential building bequeathed to him by his late father, late Ibrahim Ahmed. He usually contacts ladies of between the ages of 16, 15, 14, at most 20 or 25, where he contracts them to men of different kind of caliber, and then they have illicit and immoral activities going on in that particular place, where they have sexual intercourse with those ladies.
And the Anambra State chapter of the Nigeria Union of Journalists has called on organized labor and civil society groups to form effective partnerships with media practitioners for nation building. Speaking at the NUG Labour and Civil Society Summit in Oka, the state chairman of the council, Emeka Odogu, urged the unions to see journalists as partners in progress, especially as the 2023 general election draws near. According to him, if the civil society, Labour and the NUG work closely, it will no doubt benefit society and the government.
It is for betterment of your people, socially, economically, and otherwise. Why should you not let the world know what we are passing through or what we are achieving? So we are here gathered. We in AUJ decided to champion this cause for a partnership.
No government is a lover of workers. If left for government alone, nobody will know what is happening. They will continue to project their ideas. Problem we have is that the present government does not want the public to know the true position because of insincerity. The problem of us is the problem of all of us. If you don't have a child in the university, you are rather harsh.
With media and labor, you can always sell because information is power. And we are in a global world now. They get us to be integrated. We will integrate very well. And at any point in time, our activities will be known to the public. And from those places, you can as well know what the people want.
Stay with us on Trust TV News Update. Still ahead. We'll take a look at how flood threatens food security. Details of this and more after the break. Please stay with us.
Coleman quality, Coleman durable, Coleman cable for any kind of project. Come and see, Coleman won't light up your line. Come and see, C-O-L-E-M-A-N. Quality, durable, oh yeah. Now come and be the Baba.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now let's recap our top stories. Plots to remove INEC chairman thickens ahead of 2023 elections. And Labour Party unveils 1,234-member campaign council. And moving on to other news now. The conversation on gender equality has continued to dominate public discourse, especially as it pertains to economic participation, decision-making, peace-building and other facets of society. These and other reasons necessitated West African Network for Peace-Building in collaboration with Global Network for Peace-Building to organize a two-day training workshop for media practitioners focusing on issues that affect women. The training is aimed at building the capacity of media practitioners and also to bring to the fore gender-sensitive reporting, which should be considered a key principle of professional media production.
WANEC aims to create awareness among journalists and media practitioners to enable them understand United Nations Resolution 1925, which talks about the need for women's inclusion, decision-making and peace-building processes. The question you asked me is why the media? We believe that the media has a wide coverage to reach a large number of Nigerians, to enable them understand the relevance of this international law. At the community level, we see young men and women, even people who are elderly.
One of the major importance is I've come to know the intricacies involved in writing and projecting women. We know that we have been made to understand that projecting women is projecting peace building, because they are in the cardinal aspect of peace building.
Now, farmers in Benue State said food scarcity looms as a result of losses occasioned by flood crisis in Nigeria and other parts of the world. Now, Trust TV went to some rice fields in Benue. Here's the report.
The category of farmers mostly affected by the flood crisis are rice farmers. Rice yields maximally in waterlogged areas, but not the volume of water witnessed this year as a result of flash floods.
Because as it is 3 weeks today that the water level has refused to recede, so to speak. It started late September, and for rice to have remained underwater for up to 3 weeks, from what I have seen, if nothing is done, we are certainly going to have a food crisis, not only with respect to rice, because many farms, including yams, sorghum, cassava, and to some extent soya beans have been completely submerged in some cases, and in others partially submerged.
These are rice farms, 10 lakes, as the farmers count losses. With this, they said there may be scarcity of the commodity as dozens of hectares of rice farms have washed away.
Like some of my younger one, the husband, in Nasarawa State, them farm about 20 bags of rice. That is to plant 20 bags, but single even one mudu, 1 cup, then they take inside. The water cover everything. Not only then, from Taraba, they down to Lokoja, pass, go.
The Director of Agri Services at the Benue State Ministry of Agriculture said at a public forum that there is an alternative to farming. He particularly called on rice farmers to embrace and improve farming methods to minimize losses.
We are thinking, just like what is done in other parts of this country, we should look at the possibility of looking for swamp floating rice that is now being produced in states like Delta, in deep swamps. This should be made available to our farmers.
With rice as a common staple food for many homes, farmers warn Nigerians on the possible shortage of the commodity due to the unprecedented rainfall that hit farmlands this year.
The House of Representatives investigating NNPC Limited joint venture from 1990 to 2022 has discovered serious infractions by Shell, which has been claiming capital allowance from the government without CAFA certification from inception. Though Shell pleaded for leniency from the committee, it however still demands details of Shell's fixed assets at the next sitting. The report.
The committee, as part of the investigation, requested to know if the Shell had benefited from capital allowance, for which its management answered in the affirmative and consequently drew wide condemnation from the members of the committee.
We are not a company that takes anything statutory and tax for granted. We are a company that complies fully with the laws of the land. The specific issue of the certificate issued is one thing, but whether we have gotten the allowances on the basis of the laws of this country, I can say, Mr. Chairman, that is what we would have done.
I know for sure that you don't have CAFA certificate. Yes, you don't have, because we asked the agency concerned in advance to give us the names of all companies. I have all the companies in Nigeria that have ever obtained CAFA certificate for their properties.
There's a statutory requirement for you to enjoy capital allowances in Nigeria, which you do not appear to be aware of having. And that is what is surprising, because it will be on record that SPDC and SNEPCO do not have the requisite certificate for enjoying capital allowances in Nigeria.
Okunbo then pleaded for leniency from the committee, which requested the company to avail the committee of its details of all its fixed assets at the next sitting.
There is a basis of statute and law that enables you make those claims. So if you would allow us, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, allow us to present what we have in this respect. I'm appealing that you withhold judgment pending what we present.
At the next hearing date, at your assets, sorry, want you to avail us the details of all the assets on the basis of which the capital allowance is claimed.
The committee chairman also gave a ruling on the New Cross Exploration and Petroleum Company after blaming the MD Soje Victor over its joint venture business with the NNPC and why it has not been paying petroleum income tax (PPP) to the federal government since inception. The committee insisted the MD to make himself available to the panel or risks being declared wanted and produced before the committee by the police in handcuffs before adjourning proceedings.
And now for a look at the foreign scene, where Lebanon has recorded the first death case from cholera since detecting the disease in the country in October. Lebanon recorded its first case of cholera since 1993 on October 5th, likely the result of a serious outbreak in neighboring Syria, crossing the border between the countries and made worse by poor sanitation and crumbling infrastructure in Lebanon after 3 years of unprecedented economic crisis. The total number of recorded infections this month so far has reached 26. And finally, in sports, Draymond Green has been fined but not suspended by the Golden State Warriors for punching his teammate Jordan Poole in a training session. Green initially suggested he will step away from the team, but Kerr said he would return to training. The forward, who punched Poole after the two exchanged words in a practice session, took a few days away from the team, but will be available for the Warriors' final preseason game on Friday before their season opener against the LA Lakers on October the 18th. The Golden State Warriors won their fourth NBA title in 8 years last season, beating the Boston Celtics in the finals. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.